Well, good day everyone. So, congratulations, Kirsten. Very good.
Thank you, John.
What an epic story. And if we had to finish the race in a certain way, it's the way it happened. So, all very good. Anyway, we're just going to do a rundown on the equipment on the boat and what worked, what didn't, and then we'll have a chat about takeaways from the GGR, what felt good, what didn't, and Ada's here to try and cater for some of the French as well.
Bonjour à tous, bienvenue. Je vais essayer de poser quelques questions, pas trop parce que je pense qu'elle doit en avoir marre de tous ces interviews et tous les gens qui lui demandent encore et encore tu es une femme, alors c'était comment, alors ceci, cela. Donc voilà, peut-être je poserai 2-3 questions en français, je vous dirai en commentaire en tout cas ce de quoi ils ont parlé grosso modo en anglais pour ne pas déranger leur interview. À tout à l'heure.
Okay, all good. So let's hop on the boat and see how it goes. I'm going to pinch the camera from Jane and away we go. So let's start up at the droopy bow, the droopy bowsprit. Okay.
Give me the phone.
Give me the phone. It's in my pocket. Okay. Rightio. So I see you've got the head off there. What was the story, do you reckon? What's happened?
We're kind of still trying to figure it out. We've got multiple theories, but perhaps running downwind and surfing down waves, or perhaps even in light wind, there might have been a whole lot of pumping happening on the forestay.
Yeah.
And perhaps the bobstay was just taking up a bit more tension each time, and it started, that stainless steel cap started eating into the wood down below. But it had found its position. It wasn't going to move because it took a sledgehammer and 2 jacks and a whole lot of people and a few hours to get it off. So
cool.
Yeah.
So that's the pieces down. Oh, that's the wrong way.
Yeah. So
that's
this is the piece. This is the piece we took
wrong
off.
way.
This is the piece we've took off, and we've welded this part on here now.
Yeah.
And this is actually.
That'll cook. Yeah. So it's connected to the structure.
Yeah, and it's going to catch on that cross plate over there, so that it can't droop downwards again.
I'm going to come up here and just show people what's going on. There's the recessed nose cone, effectively, and that stainless steel strap's going to come down the end.
So this is going to sit like this, and this is actually going to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah,
That's cool.
And otherwise the wood was fine. We just
I saw that.
sealed it up with epoxy again.
Have a
and
look.
happy days.
It's actually the grain is all there. I thought it might have cracked or.
Yeah, it's actually only cracked on the lamination, and the wood isn't even rotten or anything like that. So.
Okay, good build. Come back here without, every foothold and the handhold. So let's just go through the basics. The furling gear was okay?
Furling gear was great. I had to just check that there wasn't chafe on the furling line, but otherwise it was fine.
And just walk us through, the twin headsail rig you had with the 2 poles was not a new invention, but very few people use it. Got to tell you, I'm getting one for my boat now. So tell us how, why, and what it was like.
It was pretty cool in the beginning. I found that it was a bit of a fumble because if you're using the sail as only one sail, you have to have 2 sheets if you're furling it, because the inner sail furls a little tighter than the outer sail, and you need to keep the same tension on both of the clews. But you get used to that quite quickly. And then for downwind it was absolutely fantastic because you can go dead downwind. There's no real risk of jibing unless you went really far off your wind angle. For like Southern Ocean sailing, it's beautiful because you can furl from the cockpit. You don't have to go forward or anything. But of course there is a bit of deck work because you have to set up 2 poles. But it worked really well. I mean, probably the best solution would be to have a Solent rig with 2 stays, but then you've got the extra stay and more windage when the sausage is, when it's furled, and you've got the rolled up sausage. So it was
cool.
a
pretty
system.
impressive. For those that want to know more, look at the live of Kirsten arriving in Hobart. We talked about it a lot as you were sailing in and everything, and that solved for me the issue of sheeting. Here you have the short tagline sheet sort of thing, a little short sheet for both. It's actually quite interesting.
Yeah. Well, because it's got such high clews, that was the other nice thing, is it's got really high clews. So if the boat's rolling, you don't have a boom or anything touching the water.
Yeah.
But you need the tagline, otherwise you can't actually reach the clews. So that worked pretty well.
Cool. So your non-skids like Gorilla Grip. It's seriously good stuff. What is it?
It's Kiwi Grip.
Kiwi Grip.
Yeah.
It's soft. It's not. It looks hard, but it's soft.
Yeah,
and
it's
perfect.
a little bit rubbery, kind
Yeah.
of, and it works really well. And it's we did it all in Prince Edward Island, and I was very happy with it.
It looks brand new.
Yeah, and also if you did want to redo it, it doesn't have sand or anything hard in it, so it would be quite easy to sand it off again.
Yeah, it's the first time we've been on board. I thought it was like the hard epoxy. I've seen it on some of the minis. They do it, it'll like rip your skin apart. This
Right.
is really good.
Yeah, no, it's lovely, and it really works. It does. Give
What
you
about
grip.
leaks, hatches and stuff?
I
leaks?
had this 4 hatch did leak, and the one in the middle there, I'm not sure why, because they're new, but if they got hit sideways by a wave, then there was always a bit of water dripping through.
Yeah.
And then the other leak I had, of course, was around the mast, where
Mast
the mast
collar.
goes through.
Yeah. What about portholes?
Portholes, I didn't have any more issues after I'd repaired them in Cape Town, except I think the putty and the glass is starting to become brittle because they're old. They're probably from 1988, so I probably have to replace the glass and the putty at some other stage.
Cool.
But that's
Okay.
minor.
Let's talk about the rig. What was the story? I know it's not a standard deal. Like it's who built the rig and did the design spec and everything.
So the US Spars built the rig. It's the Z Spar section.
Yeah.
And we put a really nice big section in for the mast, much bigger than the spars guys would have provided us with. We just beefed everything up really nicely. And,
How did the weight? Did you do a comparison of weight for the compared to the original timber?
Yes, the original timber was still heavier. So
Really?
even though we got a nice beefy section, it's still a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
And the timber section originally was keel stepped as well, or you took it to the keel?
it was also keel stepped.
Yeah. That's cool. Anything you like or dislike about it?
I liked having the mast steps because I like to be able to go up there quickly if I had to, but what was a bit annoying is that those steps don't stay folded in if you're beating, then
Flop out.
Yeah, they flop out. It didn't ever really bother me. I never had halyards fouling it or anything, but that was the only thing. So it wasn't really a problem. It would have just been nice if they stayed at fold in.
Yeah, it was interesting conversation when you went up the mast in Hobart, right? And I thought, how easy is that? Because you're the only one with mast steps.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. It does. I mean, it really makes it easier, and as far as I'm concerned, a little bit safer because it's so much quicker. So
You're not getting thrown around.
Exactly.
You can hang on. Yeah, I think it's. I said at the time, I think we'll see a few more GGR entrants have mast steps because to be able to get up there and have a look all the time is really.
Yeah, for sure. Or if you really did have to, go and I had to. Well, I fixed the tri-sail track, and I was up and down there the whole time getting an extra tool and this and that. So.
How'd your derade vents go?
Well, they were actually fine, but after Cape Town, I took them off and just blanked them out with another one like that.
Oh, yeah.
So for the Southern Ocean, I didn't have them at all, which was
Okay.
a good thing.
So you mimicked all of the. You don't have a lot of gear going back to the cockpit. What lines have you got going back to the cockpit?
Really just the furling line and these lines here, which are my sort of preventer come, jibe preventer, but also vang. So that's really all.
It's actually, you're the only one with this type of system. Most of them were using a traditional preventer off the end of the boom, but you've got a pulley system and a big main and a heavy boom. So did it work really well?
Yeah, it worked perfectly, and you never had to set it up. It was always there. You just had to grind on the winch, or So that worked. I think in really heavy seas, I might have rigged a second preventer coming off the end of the boom, just in case the boom really got buried underwater. I wouldn't want it to break at that point, but it worked really well otherwise.
And you got discontinuous rigging, so that was the same for the timber mast?
Yes, we copied it exactly the same as it came.
Yeah.
We just beefed up the stay wires a bit and the pins and anything that could be a weak point.
Yeah. And it's diaphragm or just normal wire? Just normal wire?
Normal, just the ordinary stainless.
Okay. So I think you're one of the few with discontinuous rigging.
Okay.
I mean continuous rigging, not discontinuous. That's the top caps going all the way to the deck. That's cool. I got to tell you, when I first saw your solar panels on the life raft, I thought, it's okay, but I don't know how long it'll last. But they lasted.
Yeah. Well, these are actually bolted on.
They're bolted. Right.
So they're super solid. We specially designed the life raft bracket so that we could bolt these on.
Yeah.
And this one was supposed to be the roving panel that you could move to somewhere else, to a sunnier spot if it was in the shade. And all it was Velcroed on, but the Velcro is so strong I never bothered moving the thing. I just left it there the whole
Okay,
time.
so that's part of the frame.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were just leaning there strapped on.
Yeah, no, and then of course if the life raft had to be deployed, you just throw it over with the panel.
Yeah.
You'd lose a panel, but you wouldn't be worried about that at that point in time.
Yeah,
so.
cool. Yeah, that makes sense. You wouldn't be worried. Okay, let's walk back this way. Your Dodger. The Dodger seems to be in pretty good condition.
Yes, it's perfect. The only where it's a little bit worn is where my hands had been, touching it and where there were press studs or something, but otherwise absolutely perfect. So.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, let's get down here. Do you want to come on board, Ada? Do you want to come on board and grab a... Whoop, watch out for the puddles. Watch out for the puddles. What's the ocean signal one there? Is that the hydrostatic EPIRB?
Yes, it's hydrostatic and it's designed to be fitted outside so that it would release itself if the boat went down and you didn't have time to deploy it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't notice that before, but I can see, we had similar in the past, but now, it's the first one I've seen that's like that on a GGR boat. I think you're the only one again with a hydrostatic.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice if you didn't have time to do it yourself.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now listen, I got to say this because it caused a lot of stir. You swimming off the back of the boat, hanging on. That was reminiscent of Robert Knox Johnson when he used to sailing 2 or 3 knots or 2 knots or whatever. He'd jump over and swim beside the boat and climb back. However, many people said, "Oh, how can she do it? How can she do it?" Give us your thought on it.
I've been doing that for years and years on deliveries and all sorts of ocean crossings, and actually, the faster the boat's going, the more you're skimming over the water, the less drag there is. So there's really not a lot of drag doing it. The only thing is that you've got to be sure that whatever you're holding onto isn't going to break off the boat while you're holding onto it. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And your Watton Sea looks as if it's well worn. So you used it a lot?
Well, it wasn't a new one. It was a reconditioned one, and I actually didn't have to use it very often with the panels that I had, but every now and again, there wasn't any sun or whatever, and then it was really useful to have.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. And tell us about your opinion on the hydrovane in terms of because I see you got lots of little ropes and straps and things. That's extra security, or it's wobbling around. What was that?
Those down there, actually, they were part of just the hydro and keeping the Watton Sea upright and stable. The hydrovane worked really well for me. I didn't have any issues that I couldn't resolve.
Yeah.
One of the issues I had taped it up over here because that's the only way I could easily resolve it without fiddling with it while I was sailing, because obviously it was working, but this whole part started moving, so there must be a key part inside there that says...
there's a pin there. That was what was happening with Ian.
Okay.
You got to line up like a grub screw pin that goes in the hole.
Okay,
but
right.
I don't know, maybe something's happening inside there, I don't know.
Yeah, it was, all I did is I just put a whole lot of tape around here and then the thing stopped moving, so that was an easy solution. And then there's this pin over, you can see I've got cable ties over here. They're holding this pin in. Which obviously moves this and moves the... that also has a grab screw. That grab screw fell out and the pin was gone, and I had this one spare. It's actually a broken one, but I just cable tied it in and it kept working. And that is actually the beauty about a hydrovan. It's working hard. This one's had already done about 15,000 miles before the race even started. But you can fix it with tape, duct tape and cable ties, and you could find some kind of...
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's cool. And your central winch, it worked? It was really handy?
Every now and again I would use it. I would use it, for example, for one of the runners, the running backstays, if I wanted. If I was using, for example, both my if I was using the twin sail and there was a sheet on either one of those winches, then I could use this winch, which was really nice. It was easier than having another set, another 2 winches somewhere there, because there's not much space there.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's still intact. So you've got your other antenna there. Your radio was okay?
Radio is fine, no issues with the radio at all.
Actually, you've got your cable very close to the backstay there. Right?
Yes, that's what some of the SSB specialists were saying, is I might have had a slightly better transmission if I'd left a bit more space there.
Yeah, it's usually a couple of inches. But anyway, that's cool. It worked. Okay, so why don't we sit down here? I'm just scanning. Yeah, I'll see that. I'm going to go swimming. What do we got? It's all very, the beauty about your boat, it's like so many normal sailors, cruising sailors, all that sort of stuff used to dribble because it's just like their dream boat. And besides the fact that it's perfect for the GTR, and it's still your home. I couldn't believe it when you said, "Yeah, living on board." You know.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's everything is rigged really simply, but it's a comfortable boat. It's spacious. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and what else have we got here? I mean, it's very conventional, eh? And how did your motor go during the race? Well, because you'd use virtually no diesel, except for when you went for Tapio.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'd fire up the engine every now and again. And had no problem starting it. The only thing I had sometimes is and I don't know, maybe it's because I was starting the engine while the boat was heeled over, but I'd get an airlock in the raw water system sometimes, so I just have to bleed it at the impeller.
Yeah. It was very interesting because we allow 25 litres for maintenance of the engine, keep everything running. And we figured you used about that much for the pickup, but then you only had 30 litres or some consumed for the whole race, so it was very impressive. I just fire up the engine every now and then, and the only real issue I have, which is a minor issue but I didn't want to attend to it at sea, is that I can't press this button and it has seized. Yeah,
that would allow me.
It seized for the gears and throttle. Yeah.
So it would allow me to give neutral revs if I wanted, if I was having trouble starting the engine. But fortunately, I had absolutely no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Ada, would you like to ask any questions in French?
I would like to ask her 10,000 questions, but I know she's tired.
It's fine.
And I think. Je vais le dire en français parce que je suis là pour parler français. J'aimerais énormément te poser des milliards de questions, mais je sais que tu es fatigué, que depuis une semaine, nous sommes tous en train de te happer, de te vouloir, de te vampiriser, rien que pour nous. Donc du coup, moi je vais juste te demander, depuis que tu es là au Sable d'Olonne, c'est comment tu fais pour tenir la pression après 8 mois toute seule, là, nous tous en train de t'aimer tellement.
Ça va, ça. J'ai pas trouvé que c'était trop de pression. Après 8 mois de ne pas avoir parlé avec personne, c'était un plaisir de parler avec les gens. Et aussi, les gens ici sont tellement enthousiastes et sincères que quand ils sont là sur la quai pour me féliciter, à chaque fois je suis touchée, émue. Et après, j'ai eu des membres de ma famille et de mon équipe et des amis et tout ça, et j'ai essayé de passer un peu de temps avec tous ces gens, et ça c'était parfois un peu difficile parce qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui voulaient parler avec moi, mais j'étais juste content que ces gens sont voyagés de tous les coins du monde pour me voir, donc c'était bon.
Tu m'as dit ici au Sable d'Olonne avant le départ que tu étais venu pour faire cette course, pour la gagner. Tu l'as fait. Est-ce que tu réalises, donc on savait que tu voulais la gagner, mais est-ce qu'une fois que tu arrives là et qu'on te dit bravo, tu es dans l'histoire de la navigation, tu es la première femme à avoir fait un tour du monde, est-ce que ça te fait quelque chose, ou tu prends les choses naturellement comme tu l'as toujours fait?
Je suis contente que j'ai gagné parce que c'est ce que j'ai voulu faire, mais après, pour le reste, à mon avis, je ne mérite pas autant de... J'ai eu un peu de chance et voilà.
Et beaucoup de talent surtout. Beaucoup de talent. Dernière question, parce que j'ai dit que je n'allais pas te poser 36 questions. Et maintenant, là tu vas quitter les Sables d'Olonne dans quelques semaines peut-être. Tu vas revenir pour la remise de prix. Mais maintenant, tu as envie là, dans les prochains mois. Pas à long terme, mais là tout de suite, dans les prochains mois, dans l'année prochaine, tu as envie de quoi?
Je sais pas encore. Pour moi, j'ai pas encore fini avec cette histoire-là parce que j'ai plein de choses que je veux faire sur le bateau, à bricoler et tout. Et après, décider de ce que je vais faire avec le bateau. Je crois que peut-être je vais encore faire une petite croisière avec le bateau, peut-être envers les Azores ou quelque chose comme ça, ou les Cap-Verts, juste pour faire des vacances. Et après, je vais vendre le bateau. Et après ça, j'aurais fait tout ce qu'il fallait faire pour terminer avec ce projet. Et je ne sais pas ce qui va arriver après, mais c'est la surprise.
I think it's enough for me
Okay.
for the moment.
Okay. Can we have a sneak peek down below?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse it's a bit of a mess because I've
Yep.
taken too
Oh,
much.
it's in work mode and pack up mode and things like that. So, where did you store your spinnaker poles, by the way, once it broke? Once the bits, did you keep the bits or you
Well,
lost it?
I've got that half there.
Oh, yeah?
Stowed
yeah.
there, and that is
Yep.
actually where it would have been stowed, except it would have gone further back.
Yeah, cool.
And also, while I was in the Southern Ocean, I had both of them stowed, one on either side, because I didn't keep anything on the mast. ever, so-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we'll go down below. We did a walkthrough video of every boat, but except Kirsten at the start, or virtually every boat, because she was very busy at the time, getting everything organised, working on diesel engines and bits and pieces. So I know a lot of people are
Beautiful
interested in
flowers.
what's going on. Yeah, nice flowers.
Oh, yeah, now we know it's a girl boat.
After you. Yeah. So this will give you a perspective on the Cape George 36. Okay. Yeah, very much a cruising boat, not carbon fibre and all that sort of stuff. Every time I come down, I look at people, all the galleys, and your galley looks very organised.
Oh, right, yes.
It's actually quite big, eh? Jeepers. That'd be one of the biggest in the fleet. Crikeys.
Yes,
And fridge working, or you just
no,
icebox, just a
it
box?
was just the stowage. There's no compressor.
Yeah.
anymore. So.
Yeah, that's cool. So did anything go flying? You got that's cane doors there. That all worked. Nothing's.
That all worked. Nothing ever flew through the cane.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
no, it worked pretty
Yeah.
well.
And you got a 2-burner gas with oven and so on. Did you use the oven?
I
much?
never used the oven.
You never used it, yeah.
I'm a bit of a lazy cook, so.
Yeah. What about gas storage and the bottles and so on?
They're actually in those aft lazarettes, and Eddie got them to fit just under the bridge between the two.
Yeah.
So they take up minimum space, and they're really wedged in there. They can't go anywhere.
Yeah. And your water supply? What's the tanks? Where are the tanks and stuff?
So
What are
there's a tank over here.
yeah, under the sole,
Yep, and then there's
Yep.
another tank over here. So the tanks are all just aligned.
in line,
central.
in the keel, yeah.
And,
And so, which is your main bilge? To check the bilge.
the one you're standing on is the main bilge.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. And so, which is your hot bunk? Or whatever's going on.
Whichever depends on which side the wind was coming
Yeah.
from. I'd either be on port or starboard.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, very impressive. And so the interior, you didn't do a lot too. Is that right?
No, all we did was everything that's white we repainted.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
but the
that's
rest
cool.
was fine as
Yeah.
it was.
And you reglassed all the decks, and did you reglass the cabin top as well?
Yes, for most of the cabin top we not the whole cabin top, just where it needed to be reglassed, but
Yeah.
we painted
Yeah.
it. So.
I'm fascinated why you mounted the Weatherfax horizontally on the chart table.
I actually just stuck it on with Velcro.
Ah, right.
And just because I didn't want to be drilling any holes or anything, like
Oh.
Eddie knew I hated putting holes in anywhere, so anywhere I could avoid putting a hole.
Okay, I'm going to digress here. I hope Captain Coconut gets to see this picture because we've just bought a new Swan 57.
Mm-hmm.
He's drilled 9 holes in the main bulkheads, and for 45 years there were no holes, and I'm going ballistic. So you're like me. That's very funny. Yeah, no holes. Anyway, that's another story. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's interesting. Anyway, but you've got a mobile chart table in your lap.
Yes. Here's my mobile chart table right here, and that's actually where I always just stowed it. And
Yeah, it's a great idea.
it was, I could. Sorry about this.
So it's on a pillow. It's like a TV dinner table.
Yeah, exactly. I could have sat here and had my dinner on it as well, but
Yeah.
I could sit on whichever side was more comfortable, and then I had, the almanac and
perfect.
my plotting paper.
I didn't
and
realise it
my
had
little-
had a drawer, had a space. That's even
I
better.
know, that's the person who made
I-
it for me really put.
I really like that.
Yeah, and it's comfortable. It's got
Yeah. So it's squishy. Just turn it over. So it's not tight. It's squishy. So it takes the shape of your
Yeah.
legs. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because I remember one of the competitors also had one of these orientations of chart table,
Yeah.
and it's not great because you're standing like this and you can't sit.
Yeah.
But to change, that's a huge job, and this was a very, very simple solution to make it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The cat's out the bag now.
Yeah,
It's a
and then
beauty.
I could keep that chart table, which is nice and big, so
Yeah.
to actually do chart work, it was perfect. So.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's cool. Yeah, I like that. Nothing special about storage compartments or anything like that. It's all
No,
very...
except there's lots of space. You don't really realise it, but all under the bunks there's space, and there's all this, and I had absolutely no problem at all with finding space to store
exactly.
stuff. So.
Can we have a peek up front?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
wow. This is all the original fit out?
This is all the original fit up.
Yeah.
Obviously,
very cool.
The double berth with the, just I took the mattresses out because I was just going to use it for.
Yeah, that's cool. It's actually a big space.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger space than the others because you're so full in the bow.
Oh right, yeah, no, it's lovely because I never, had any problems shoving sails down here or anything like that.
I often talk about it. She's got so much buoyancy, you got a bone in her teeth, you know what I mean? When you came into Hobart, you had this bow wave and slime on the bow just curling back. It's really obvious to me. Yeah. And even Jane says, how come she's got all this different slime on the hull? And I said, it's just the hull shape. It's where it develops a constant wave.
That's interesting, wow.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Okay, yeah, well that's pretty cool.
And then you're welcome to look in there as well. That's just
you've got a
bed and shower and everything that's like there. So.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, very traditional again. It's all very cool. Yeah, very traditional.
What worked for me is I actually I've got a water pump. I put put like a manifold in, and I could switch the pressurized water to salt water, and then I could only
pressurized water to salt water.
Exactly. So if
on
I go
pressure.
On pressure, yeah. So so if I want to brush my teeth there, it's salt water that comes out. I know I'm not wasting any water on anything that's not.
Did
cooking.
you ever use this shower? Like have a rinse off?
I didn't know. No, I just because it would have been salt anyway, so I'd just be in the cockpit with a bucket.
Okay, I'll try to do that. Well, that's all very impressive. Very impressive indeed. Let me just shut that. We'll come back here and let Ada have. Oh, there's your Citran bear. What's the name of your Citran bear?
I think I'm gonna call him Slew.
Slew.
Because I've got a dog called Slew, and he reminds me of the dog. So.
Okay. You want to come through here, Ada, and you can do some bits. I'll hold the camera and oh, there you go. You hold that one. Yep.
Bon, I'm afraid I need to ask you some more questions. Comment, moi c'est une question, je ne suis pas navigateur, je n'ai pas du tout ton caractère, ta force, mais quand je suis là au milieu du bateau, je me dis que c'est vachement dur, la vie à bord tous les jours. Je veux dire concrètement, de manger, de s'allonger, de ne pas être mouillé, tout ça. Est-ce que tu as l'habitude, on sait, 250 000 milles, mais il n'y a pas des jours où tu t'es dit, j'en ai juste marre?
Quand j'étais coincée, sans vent, oui. Là, j'avais un peu marre, mais là, je pouvais quitter le bateau au moins, aller nager. Mais sinon, pour moi, c'était vraiment ma maison. J'étais bien. Et, c'était confortable. Tout était là où j'ai mis les choses. Je savais exactement où trouver n'importe quoi. J'avais beaucoup à manger, j'avais de l'eau, j'avais tout ce qu'il me fallait plus. Et j'étais bien.
Oui, j'ai même vu sur ton Facebook hier, tu avais mis les photos de ta nourriture. C'était assez impressionnant, la nourriture que tu as cuisinée à quelqu'un du coin, quelqu'un des Sables d'Olonne, je crois.
Oui, c'était vraiment super. J'ai bien mangé et c'était des bocaux et tout ce qu'il fallait faire, c'était ouvrir le bocal et réchauffer dans une... Ouais. Donc c'était super.
Tu sais, quand je te regarde, en fait, c'est pas juste parce que tu es fatigué que je ne veux pas te poser des questions. D'abord, c'est parce que j'en aurais trop. Mais c'est surtout quand je te regarde, il y a en toi une part de mystère et j'ai presque pas envie de la dévoiler. Et j'ai l'impression que c'est comme tu es aussi. Tu vis dans ton monde, tu vis dans ta bulle et puis tu nous laisses tous tourner autour, là, te regarder.
Oui, c'est un peu comme ça. Et une fois qu'on est en mer et... il faut tout simplement continuer, c'est tout. Et un jour après l'autre, donc les gens me demandent mais c'est long, oui, moi c'est long, mais ça m'a pas vraiment paru long. Seulement quand on ne bougeait pas parce qu'on n'avait pas de vent, mais sinon.
Est-ce que cette interview te paraît longue maintenant?
Non, pas du tout. Bonne ambiance et tout ça, donc non, ça ne pas long.
I'm just looking at your gadgets here. This is a classic. This is one of my favourites, is having a solid pole across the top of your lead pots instead of rope. So you've got this like plug and the pole goes onto that and you can drop it in.
And it's just electrical conduit. That's
I used to have an aluminium tube so you could hang onto it and jump over it.
Yeah.
You know, and you could it's a lot better than just having rope. You know, quite interesting. I think South African and Australian sailors must be similar because it's rough water all the time.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah.
Anyway,
This
okay.
is just decoration, though, Agnes. You will
Oh, is
not
this the
eat them
9-month
anymore.
onion?
No, that's a 9
This is the
month
9 month. This is a
What is
famous onion. Jeepers, that's incredible, eh? So I'm going to squeeze it. Is it okay to squeeze
Oh,
it?
yeah, squeeze
No,
it, go
It's
for
still
it.
hard. That's all
Oh,
right. You
yeah,
can
I
eat that.
mean,
Oh, that one's a bit hollow, but.
If I wasn't too lazy, I'd have chopped it up and eaten it before I got here. So.
So how many onions did you leave with?
Quite a few. This whole thing was bulging full of onions.
Yeah.
And I had a few other onions that were in a box that I then, as soon as there was space, I added them. And
Yeah.
there was also garlic and all sorts. The garlic was too dry towards the end. I had to toss away the garlic.
Yeah. Any other fresh food made the distance, or till last few months or something?
No, just the onions and the garlic.
Yeah.
I had some lemons that lasted very long. They were on this side here,
Yeah.
but I ate those before I arrived.
Yeah, that's cool. I've had a lot of people asking about provisioning and food.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's the takeaway there? Like what worked, what didn't?
I had a bit of everything. Firstly, I had Jean-Louis Leclerc's jars of food that he gave me, which was fantastic. And I had the luxury, being on a heavy displacement boat anyway, that I didn't have to worry about. Oh, but that's a lot of glass.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't going to affect the performance of the boat excessively. And then it was just standard stuff. It was tinned food, powdered milk, rice, pasta. I had some of the expedition food that you just add water to, which was great. So I had really a mix of everything. So.
How did you work out your provisioning in terms of quantities?
I was very unscientific about it. I started doing a big shop in Canada for the trip down to Cape Town, and then I had a good idea of how much I'm going to be consuming because I bought way more than I needed for that 2-month trip. And then I just kept on, stocking up whenever I had a chance. I stocked up in Cape Town because I had a car. I stocked up in the Azores again, a little bit in Spain, a little bit here. So it was very unscientific, but it worked out just perfectly. I was rationing myself originally, and the more I realized I've got enough food, the more I'd be able to eat. But now I don't have. I could probably easily have stayed out there for another 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, but I would have to ration myself a little bit. So.
What was your?
It's something who impressed me. The boys, they all lost a lot of weight, and you didn't. You are exactly the same, I think.
They're probably used to having their wives cook for them or something.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, but you don't feel like you lost weight, right?
No, I don't think so. I think I didn't weigh myself before the trip, and I haven't weighed myself after. It would make no sense, but I feel like I've stayed pretty constant in my weight throughout. So.
Yeah, actually, this is a question you should ask to Abigash and
Yeah,
to Goodness,
exactly.
who's
Whether they
cooking.
cook at home, yeah. Hey, listen, how did you, without getting too personal, how did your body hold up? You know what I mean? Like your hands look pretty good, better than a lot of the guys.
Yeah,
again.
no, hands are fine, no issues. I never injured myself. I never was limping around. Nothing like that bothered me. The only thing I had towards the end, and I also had it when I was approaching Cape Town the first time when I left Canada, is I was getting a bit of a headache, and I think it was an allergy kind of headache. So I think it might have been spores.
Yeah.
From mold or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But nothing, that was a problem. It just that was kind of the only little thing.
That's cool. Okay, so you sent me the most amazing letter talking about how you really got off on the whole celestial navigation, and it was a real classic about lighthouses and things that you just get lazy on, and it doesn't come up with GPS and chart plotters and things like that. That's just one example, but overall, what was your biggest takeaway from the GGR? Now that it's done and you look back, what's the single most satisfying or pleasing things? Not fun thing, but where's it at? Like you went into it as with a genuine, honest attitude towards what you were trying to do. Where is it now?
Well, I think the whole celestial navigation aspect and the thing of not staring at grid files to see what weather's coming your way was really one of the most satisfying things, because it became fun. In the beginning I'd still hail ships on VHF and say, hey, could you give me your position, but after a while it's like, I don't need it. Except if I had not seen the sun for a number of days or whatever, then it was a different thing. But yeah, that was immensely satisfying. It was really good to know that you can go out there and find your way right around the world without a GPS.
Yeah, and did you find you were at one with the weather? You know what I mean? Because you weren't getting the computer weather and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think so. And it was fun, you know, using Bayes' ballot law and okay, well, the wind's blowing on my back now, so that's where the low is, and it's still coming up behind me. Okay, now it's probably due south of me. Now it's passed over. I really enjoyed that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah. So then you're starting to drift into the Metesia thing, where you're at one with the ocean. I mean, you already are because you've done 250,000 miles and all that sort of stuff, but it brings it all together as a solid package.
Yeah, I think that's what really did, and that was really what I wanted to do and understand. And also, it was just fun, you know, working with paper charts, working with dividers again, or getting out, you know, an old mechanical stopwatch and timing the lighthouse signal, just things like that. It was really fun.
Did that send you back in time to think about all the guys before?
Yeah, very much so, very much so.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, technical issues. How did you sleep? Like, what was your usual sleep patterns? Grab it when you can, or you tried to get solid lumps, you know, occasionally? Or?
Yeah, I did try and kind of sleep more at night if I could, and just keep a normal sleep pattern like that. And then I'd definitely try and have a little afternoon nap in case I'd be required to be awake more at night. But actually, I had plenty of time to sleep most of the time. It was very seldom that I felt sleep deprived or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I was usually always up before sunset, well before sunset. It just was kind of in my rhythm, and that was great because then I could get a time signal and I could watch the sunset. The sunrise, not the sunset. I could watch the sunrise, enjoy it, and then watch. You know, I'd wait till the sun was anything, you know, from 18 degrees to 25 degrees above the horizon, because then I know I'd get a pretty nice long check. So,
And your sextant survived?
The sextant survived. This is where the sextant lived.
Oh, that's where you keep it. Yeah.
So it was a safe enough spot. Sextant survives, still works perfectly, and I've got a second sextant as well, which I never need.
Cool. Anything that didn't work that surprised you?
No, not that I can think of. That's the simplicity. Everything was, you know, so simple that it was hard for it not to work unless you were going to drop your sextant or something like that.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
everything actually worked.
All right, we haven't looked at the chart table back here. The quarter berth is Jane's ducking. The quarter berth is purely storage by the look of it.
Yeah, I had you know, my safety stuff stored there because it's right at the companionway, so you can grab it if you had to. So I had my survival suit and my grab bags. That's actually still Tapio's comms box there.
That's his grab bag. That I didn't know it was a soft one or hard one.
Yeah, and it's got his, you know,
bits
beacon in it, and there's a sat phone that doesn't work anymore and everything. So I just
that's cool. That's cool. And you've got your electrical panel under there. Yeah, that's cool. People are always interested in.
And it didn't ever get wet. You know, people would say that's a funny place to have your electrical panel. Well, the boat came like that, but I never had issues. Even when I got some waves coming through there, that was under the shelter of it. So.
That's cool. Ship's bell, another knife there. That's cool.
That's actually my safety plan there.
Yeah, it's faded a bit.
Faded away. But I knew where everything was. That was one of the tick the box things.
And
this clock, actually, you can see it's got the seal stuff. Georgie came, we unsealed it. I didn't use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all good. Barometer. Did you have a barograph?
No, I
just use the barometer. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, that's all very cool. Did you ever use the kerosene lamps?
No, they came with the boat.
Yeah, so they've gone all the way around.
Yeah, they've gone all the way around.
Yeah, that's a timeline. Fantastic. All right, Ada, do you want to...
Kirsten, I see Paulo Coelho and other books. Mm-hmm. Which one is the one who spoke the most with you, with the nature you are?
Well, I'd obviously read it more than once, but I wasn't going to go without this book.
What's this?
Yeah.
Because it's
is it French or English?
It's French.
French.
Yeah. And it's you know, it's a whole philosophy. So that one. I had lots of books. I had so many different books. I mean, if I really was missing land, for example, someone gave me this book, and it's got the most amazing photos of lions and the desert and everything. Yeah. I just, and you know, like all these books, it wasn't necessarily I'd ever read this book or wanted to.